Okay, we are live once again on YouTube, everybody. Meteorologist Nick Kelly here, keeping an eye on these thunderstorms that continue to erupt right along and even starting to sneak behind the cold front in a couple of spots. So Mother Nature certainly living up to her promise that we were going to go into this Monday morning on a bit of a loud note for a good number of us. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in, and we'll stay on for a little bit. For as long as we can, at least until I potentially may have to hop back on air and notify everybody, at least on the television side, if they're being woken up by Mother Nature, that is. In the meantime, though, let's recap from the broad perspective of things. I say recap, I just got back on here. So let's start off, there we go, with what's going on. Overall, in the orange, as a severe thunderstorm watch until we hit 4 o'clock going into your Monday morning, or this morning, I should say now. I'm still in the mindset that we're in Sunday evening, but we're past midnight. We're well into our Monday now. This is a severe thunderstorm watch for areas from Stockton Lake, Barton County, Crawford County, Labette, Montgomery, and working back into northeast Oklahoma and right up until the Missouri-Arkansas state line. Again, that's in effect until 4 a.m. We got a couple of severe thunderstorm warning polygons that are out there still from 12:12. We have a severe thunderstorm warning clipping much of Washington County and a good portion of the Wada County too. That's in effect until 12:30. We can go west along the line here to what I think is like the tiniest severe thunderstorm warning polygon, but it's for a severe cell nonetheless. Pretty much around Chetopa and extreme southeastern parts of Labette County. Kudos to the Weather Service out of Wichita for catching that storm. That's going to be an issue for a few more minutes before that mainly works over into southwestern Cherokee County, east of town. And then we have this severe thunderstorm warning polygon. The first one that the system is highlighting here is for southeastern Cherokee County. So let's say from about Waco, Asbury, back down to Lawton, on top of our television station here, just to the east and south of Columbus, picking up around, let's say, Old Treese, Riverton, Baxter Springs, and Galena, and maybe on the northern side of downstream Casino as well, as you work back near I-44. And then we got a good portion of Jasper County under a couple of severe thunderstorm warning polygons. Same goes for southern and southeastern Barton County as well. The first polygon that you see flashing before you, that's in effect until 12:45. That includes the Joplin area back up to Carthage and the western parts of Jasper County, let's say west of 49. So we're talking about areas around, let's say, oh my goodness, let's say Oronogo, Webb City, Alba, Waco, Asbury, Carl Junction, and then working back down around Joplin. Maybe stopping just shy of Mercy Hospital. That's probably the farthest extent that the polygon is going. Same goes for Freeman Hospital too. Then we have an additional severe thunderstorm warning polygon, one that just went into effect. It's for northeastern Jasper, southeastern Lamar, and a good portion of Dade County. That's in effect until 1:15. So we've got quite a bevy of warnings on our hand, including another one to the north of Springfield, and that's working, let's say, around Bolivar and Humansville as well. But we have storms in our territory that we're keeping an eye on. So we're going to go right first and foremost into the severe thunderstorm warnings for southeast Kansas into southwestern Missouri, and we'll go ahead and start with the first polygon that the system is picking up on. Now I want to simplify this radar view a little bit here so that we're looking at things just from Springfield's perspective, at least our radar side out of Springfield, close to the airport, believe it or not. If you've ever traveled down 44 and past that golf ball-like dome on the western side before you hit the Chestnut Expressway, that's the airport, and next to it is the Weather Service. And they're WSR 88D scanning the skies and certainly doing a good job picking up on these storms right now. A quick query on these thunderstorms. With the latest warning, that is, it's not overly impressive, but again, these storms have wasted no time getting going over the past few hours. This severe thunderstorm warning for much of Dade County, southeastern Barton, and northeastern Jasper County, that is in effect until 1:15. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and this is generally moving toward the east at about 35 miles per hour, so we can get a pretty good storm track on here for you. I'm just going to reorient the view a little bit, and then we'll get a storm track on this let's say on the leading edge of this overall. Even though the warning has it moving mainly east, you can see how the southern end of the polygon wants to take a little jaunt up to the north and northeast, so we'll go a little due north of east, or north of due east rather, however you want to phrase that. We'll take it out over the next hour in case it clips people you know around Bolivar and maybe not too far from Buffalo, Pleasant Hope, and Ash Grove. Golden City's pretty much knocking on the door right now. Lockwood at 12:30, around Morgan and North Morgan at 12:33, then Greenfield by 12:41, Pilgrim at 12:49, around Bolivar and Comet by 1 o'clock, and then it'll work into northern parts of Greene County in southwestern Missouri, Walnut Grove by about 1:10. So that's the latest on that severe thunderstorm warning, and believe it or not, we're seeing these continue to light up. That's the newest severe thunderstorm warning polygon. This is for southern parts of Cedar County and northeastern parts of Dade County. It's from a storm south of Stockton Lake, working just to the south of Stockton over Umberview Heights, around North Morgan and Arcola. Let's see what this warning is all about, why it's raising such a fuss. Again, another one with 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail, but you can clearly see if you luck out and don't see any of that, rather, you're getting a lot of heavy rainfall based on how these reflectivity values on the radar are just ramping up. So, with that said, we'll do another storm track. This one's moving east at 40 miles per hour. So, let's actually first see how this has been progressing over the last hour here, just so we have a good handle on the movement here. We're just looking back at the radar loop over the past hour. I kind of agree with the polygon here, moving generally east, if not a little bit more northeast. So we'll do like the leading edge of the heaviest reflectivity, and we'll take this out, let's just say over the next 40 minutes or so. This will be working eventually near Bolivar at 12:47 or a quarter of 1. Same goes for Aldrich too. So if you know anybody east of here, especially working up Missouri 13 as you work near Bolivar and Aldrich, you want to give them a heads up, as this storm will start knocking on the door by then. But let me slide the timetables down. Well, actually, let's move it over here. There we go. Near Cane Hill by 12:24, Fair Play at 12:26, North Morgan 12:32. Then again, Aldrich, Bolivar, right around a quarter to 1 or 12:45. So we're going to expand this view back out, and we'll do, let's say, a double check on the storm right around the heart of the Joplin area. And I'll tell you what, if we are not getting any serious hail reports out of this or wind gusts pushing near 60, Jasper County, Cherokee County, around the Joplin area, that is a lot of rain coming down right now. But we'll do our due diligence and make sure we're not seeing anything mischievous trying to pop up here. First, we're going to get a look at potential hail sizes here. Yeah, certainly picking up on some. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that was quarter-size hail, and system certainly agrees with that. So that's working right along 66, Kansas or Missouri 66, so pretty much 7th Street. So we're talking about near the gas station, right on the Kansas-Missouri line on 7th Street and north of the apartment complex, not too far to the south of there. And that's going to be squirting into the western sides of Joplin. So western sides of Joplin, the Joplin area, with this storm coming in, prepare for at least penny to quarter size hail and maybe some wind gusts near 60. But in the meantime, we're going to take off the scope here and just make sure we have a good handle on the motion of this as well. Let's see, east, northeast, looks about right. And we'll do this track here, just to refresh myself about how fast this is moving. Still 35 miles per hour. And in fact, yeah, not only does our system confirm it, but emergency management did report quarter-size hail, there we go, around neutral on the Kansas side. So that is certainly verifiably quarter-size hail with the storm as it continues to work on through. So, with that said, we will get a fresh storm track on here, let's say on the leading edge of this activity here. We'll move this to the east. Let's take it out over the next, let's say 35 minutes or so, just to make sure we have everything covered. The heaviest of the rain, and maybe some of that hail too, starting to work over downtown Joplin within the next few minutes by about 12:23. Around North Park Mall, east side of Joplin around Range Line by 12:26. Let's say Irving Elementary by 12:31. Freeman East, certainly around other parts of Joplin by 12:34. Then we'll see if it can hold together in its form around and make it to Carthage by 12:40. Carytown by 12:44, then around Forest Mills by 12:49. And that little severe thunderstorm warning we had for extreme southeastern Lebec County, that storm, the Weather Service out of Springfield thinks it's weakened just enough that they're not continuing to warn on that, but I would not be surprised if that is containing at least some small hail about, let's say, penny size. System suggesting penny size, maybe trying to push quarter size once again, so that is something we'll continue to keep in mind and keep a close eye on, that is, as this little cell, this little guy, continues working east-northeast at about 35 to 40. And then, let's focus, if the system will let me, there we go, on this line that is really congealed over the past hour. In fact, we can give you a loop of a 1 hour loop of everything here. You can see how these storms were really starting to congeal to the west of Bartlesville, west of Skiatook, and just to the west and northwest of Tulsa, and even around Sand Springs. And as they continue on marching eastward, those severe thunderstorm warnings certainly are continuing. And the latest on the warning to come out of the Weather Service office in Tulsa, they're not impressed with the nickel sizes, and we'll double check with our radar tools here, the hail scope, to see how that verifies. But looking at potentially nickel size hail, but with this batch of storms, as long as they congealed, the expectation was for the hail size to start coming on down, maybe trying to punch up in a few spots, certainly where you see those high reflectivity values. But whenever you see a storm congeal like that and kind of form into more of like a little bow or a little cluster, it's going to be more of a wind threat. So far, it's not an extreme wind threat, but 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, that could cause a little bit of damage if Mother Nature doesn't try to tone things down a little bit. So something that we'll still certainly keep an eye on. So let's do our due diligence, make sure we're not seeing anything mischievous coming out of this. As I take off our toolbox here, you can see a couple areas within that batch, especially south of Bartlesville, right around, if not passing just to the north of Skiatook, around Nowata, and then the northern half of Nowata County. That is where we're pushing penny to almost quarter-size hail, so that certainly is almost severe criteria, along with the winds trying to push near, let's say 60 miles per hour. Now, in terms of how fast this is booking along, we are seeing actually just picking up a little steam here. So we'll take this out to the east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Make sure it covers primarily our neck of the woods. And just for a general heads up, since these storms will more than likely hold together as they start working in southwest Missouri, we'll start to include parts of southwestern Missouri in this storm track here. We are looking at Talala at 1228, near Commerce, Oklahoma by 1253. We said that once we got closer to the 1 o'clock hour, last time I was on air at least with an update for everybody, it was going to be nearing the Will Rogers Turnpike by the time we got to the 1 o'clock hour. So that's around, let's say, Veneta and Miami. That's when you'll get in on the action. Again, mainly 60-mile-per-hour winds, maybe some penny-sized hail, maybe a couple quarters trying to mix in. And if these storms hold together as they work into Seneca and Grove and Crowder College between 125 and 145, we could certainly see warnings by then go out for parts of southwestern Missouri. Of course, that's up to the Weather Service office out of Springfield. Those guys over there are on top of things, as they always are when we get any sort of nefarious weather to work on through. That's a quick look at how things are looking at the moment, everybody. We aren't seeing a big tornado threat here. Fortunately, we're not seeing the shear come together just right, and there's just not enough deep moisture for these storms to work with to try to rotate and produce tornadoes. And that's certainly a good problem to have. We don't want to deal with any of that, certainly during the rest of the overnight hours. But we will continue to keep an eye on these